The National Nuclear Security Administration. It's a mouthful, isn't it? Sounds like a government agency run by a bunch of guys named Ted, who wear pleated khakis and play golf on the weekends. But let's be clear, this agency doesn't just have a boring name. It has incredibly high stakes. We're talking about the folks responsible for the safety, security, and effectiveness of our nuclear weapons stockpile. That's right, the big, scary, boom stuff. These are the people who make sure that if some maniac decides to push the button, our nukes actually work. They're also the ones who make sure that nobody else can push that button except for, well, the people who are supposed to. It's a big job, it's a serious job, and it requires a level of expertise and clearance that would make your average Mensa member feel like a drooling toddler. So when news broke that the Trump administration had decided to fire over 300 NNSA employees, people were understandably concerned. And by concerned, I mean ready to shove a copy of Nuclear War for Dummies down someone's throat. These weren't just random bureaucrats getting the boot. We're talking scientists, engineers, security experts, the folks who literally keep the world safe from nuclear annihilation. On the evening of February 13, 2025, the axe fell. Over 300 NNSA employees, many with top-level security clearances, received their pink slips. The firings were swift, seemingly random, and sent shockwaves through the agency. It was like someone had decided to play Jenga with our national security, and they just pulled out a really important block. What followed was a chaotic scramble as the NNSA, caught completely off guard, tried to figure out what the hell had just happened. Adding to the chaos was the fact that the NNSA's own Human Resources Department seemed to have been left out of the loop. They were as surprised by the firings as everyone else, which is a bit like finding out your spouse has filed for divorce from your neighbor. Then, in a move that surprised absolutely no one, the backlash began. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle voiced their outrage, questioning the sanity of firing hundreds of nuclear experts in the middle of, well, everything. Under mounting pressure, the Trump administration backpedaled faster than a hamster on a wheel, announcing the reinstatement of most of the fired employees. But the damage was done. The firings, even if short-lived, exposed a level of incompetence and disregard for national security that was frankly terrifying. It was like watching a monkey try to juggle hand grenades. Sure, it might be entertaining for a few seconds, but eventually someone's going to get hurt. The firings and subsequent reinstatements left a trail of destruction in their wake. Morale at the NNSA, unsurprisingly, plummeted. Imagine showing up to work one day only to be told you're fired, then being asked to come back the next day as if nothing happened. It's enough to make anyone question their career choices, not to mention their sanity. Beyond the immediate impact on morale, the firings raised serious concerns about national security. These weren't just entry-level positions being eliminated. We're talking about people with years, if not decades, of experience handling some of the most sensitive material on the planet. Their abrupt dismissal, even if temporary, created a potential security breach that sent chills down the spines of anyone who understands the gravity of nuclear weapons. The chaos also had the potential to disrupt ongoing projects and weaken the NNSA's ability to respond to emergencies. It's like trying to perform open-heart surgery while riding a roller coaster. Sure, you might be able to keep the patient alive, but it's not going to be pretty. Perhaps the most troubling aspect of the entire ordeal was the specter of political interference in what should be a strictly nonpartisan issue, nuclear security. The firings, carried out with seemingly little regard for their impact, raised concerns about whether the Trump administration was attempting to politicize the NNSA and bend it to its will. This isn't just a theoretical concern. The Trump administration had already made noises about reclassifying certain non-political positions within the NNSA as presidentially appointed ones. This would effectively give the White House more control over the agency and raise the very real possibility of cronyism and unqualified individuals being put in positions of immense responsibility. The implications of such a move are deeply unsettling. Nuclear weapons are not toys to be wielded for political gain or to reward loyalists. They are a grave responsibility, one that demands a level of seriousness and expertise that transcends partisan politics. The world is watching, and the message being sent by the Trump administration is, to put it mildly, concerning. The NNSA firings were a stark reminder of the fragility of our national security apparatus and the dangers of political interference in matters of such critical importance. We dodged a bullet this time, but the next one might not be so forgiving. We need to demand better from our leaders, for our sake and for the sake of the world, because when it comes to nuclear weapons, there are no do-overs.